everybody, good day. This is Joe, and it's autumn in the northern hemisphere. Hey, looky there. There's leaves are starting to turn, and I have a few leaves on my lawn here that have already fallen. And one of the things I've done in the past that is kind of fun with typewriters is to take leaves and roll them into your typewriter and type on them. Have you guys ever tried that? Let's do that. Stay tuned. If you're going to go out collecting leaves to be used in a typewriter, you don't want this kind of a dry leaf, obviously. You want something that's pliable and soft that you can roll through the platen. And secondly, you want something that's light colored. This is a nice yellow leaf that will work good. It's not that big, but hey, we can still type on it. And look at the back side is even lighter than the front side, so this kind of a leaf is nice. It would be nice to have it a little bit larger, but we can type a small little verse on it. And then the third thing is the main vein that runs through the leaf, the stem. On the larger leaves, these stems can get real fat, and it'll make the leaf kind of difficult to roll through the typewriter. You'll have to cut off the stem or break it off, and then you want to find a leaf where the stem isn't so thick, or if it is thick, we might have to press it down with a rolling pin or something to flatten that stem out a little bit to make it a little bit easier to roll through your typewriter. But you want to go out and collect some leaves that are soft, and then take them home, put them in a little shallow container of water, put them in the refrigerator. This leaf is kind of light tan colored. It would be okay to type on. It is rather small. And this one, of course, is lighter even. It would be even better. And like this guy is probably too far gone. Perhaps on the back side we could type it, but there's a lot of veins in this one. And that center stem is really kind of thick. Definitely want to cut that off. But this one is probably a little too green still to type on. But these yellow leaves, I think, work really well. This one is fairly thin on the vein, and it'll be nice and thin to roll through the typewriter. I really like the texture on these leaves. I find it interesting that when we talk about books, they have leaves. Books have leaves, right? Leaves of pages. I wonder if that term, the leaf of a book, is related to the leaf of a tree. They have a common origin. But we know, of course, that we get paper from wood pulp, which comes from trees also. So there's kind of an interrelated connection there between typing on leaves and paper itself, which is kind of cool. I think that's going to work well is this guy right here. Isn't that cool? Hopefully it's not going to be too brittle. I also collected a smaller one. It might be good for writing haikus on or something like that. But anyways, I've collected some leaves. I've kept them moist in a container of water in the refrigerator until I get around to doing this. So to do this project, I need several things. I need to figure out what typewriter I'm going to use, and so this is going to require some experimentation on my part, because some of the leaves, like the big ones, are going to be relatively fat, and they may be difficult to thread into through the platen of a ultra portable machine, for instance. So I might want to try more of a medium-sized portable. Yeah, I'll have to try a couple machines here. My Royal Quiet Deluxe is out here on my workbench. I'll try that first. The other thing is I need to decide the typeface. So I do want to get a Pike 10 character per inch typeface, just because to make these letters, these characters, a little more legible on a leaf. A leaf is an imperfect medium upon which to type on, so I'm gonna use a larger typeface. Then I have to decide what I want to write, what I want to type, and I think for these leaves it really becomes appropriate to type some kind of verse or poem, and I could make up my own poems, or I could go through a couple of little books I have and look for some classic lines of poetry, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. So all right, the Royal Quiet Deluxe. Okay, so I think I'm going to try rolling it in sideways. Now this does have a stem that's a little bit thick right on the edge here, so I might want to trim that off a little bit so it's not quite so thick. Okay. Okay, now I have in this Treasury of American Poetry, I have a poem by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Well, this elite font is a little bit too small, I think. Outside, the leaves were falling and they cried, "Too soon, too soon." Okay, so I've grabbed my Royal Mercury. It is a Pike of Machine. It is an ultra portable, but I was able to get the leaf rolled through it with a little bit of difficulty. Let's just use this leaf as a test. The bichrome is set to the black setting, the upper part of the ribbon. Let's see here, yeah. Well, yeah, I do like the imprint made here on the bottom 2 lines with a Pike of Machine. That looks better, definitely. But it doesn't feed, this machine doesn't feed the leaf through as easily as I'd like. So I'm going to have to go grab out of my closet a machine, a bigger machine with more room through it, the platen. Okay, so let's grab the Hermes 3000 and just do a test roll. It has a different style paper support thingamajiggy. Well, it rolls through pretty nicely. Let's unlock the carriage, and that's actually rather nice. So let's grab our yellow leaf, cut the stem, and let's see. I guess we'll do it horizontal like that. I can feed it in there. This might actually work. Hey, look at this. So I tried to stagger the lines to give not exactly the same way that Lawrence Ferlinghetti wrote it, but in its own way. It kind of has that same spirit. I think this is like an 11 character per inch machine. Not quite as big as a American pica size, but not bad. There are a few punch throughs of the characters, so the leaf is having a few holes punched in it there. But hey, I think that's kind of cool. Well, okay, so we found a good machine to use. Let's go get one of the big leaves, shall we? Okay, this is one of the nice big leaves I collected the other day. I'm going to try typing, I think, on the front, because I like this, the colorations going from brown to green, light yellow and green. And I will type it against a piece of paper. Cut the stem off here. Alright, so now this leaf's a little curled, so I think I'm going to try doing this Joyce Kilmer verse in the way it was originally written in 2 lines. It looks like it works the best on light leaves, like yellowish leaves. If you're going to try this at home, you'll have to experiment, get a handful of leaves and try it out. I do like this, the way the leaf has that shiny, oily kind of look to it. And the ink, I did double space it here just to make it a little more legible. It's a little rough. You definitely wouldn't want an elite font on it. You want a larger typeface, but I think that's cool. And it didn't punch through too badly this time. I was a little easier on it. Okay, I got one more big leaf. Let me try typing the Ferlinghetti verse on the other one. Cut the stem off. And I want it like that, so put it behind the paper and hope it feeds straight. Usually wrinkles the tips of the leaves. Okay, my Ferlinghetti poem. Wow. I think that's kind of cool. But there is one unintended consequence. And we're using, therefore, leaves as a crude form of carbon paper. You need a green leaf for this, and that was totally unexpected, but that's kind of interesting. And that also means I need to clean the type slugs on this machine. They're going to be full of green sap. Oh, that's interesting. One of the possibilities that you can do with this leaf typing is you could make these to be gifts for friends and relatives and family. You could even make Halloween cards with the leaf typing on them, autumnal themed note cards or gift cards. Here in America we have the Thanksgiving holiday coming up in November. Maybe you can do some of these for Thanksgiving. You could even do something interesting, like if you were to take a whole little branch like this with a grouping of leaves on it. Maybe you could type a separate word of a poem on each of the leaves and keep the whole thing intact and see if you can make a poem that reads from the top down on each leaf alternately. One of my favorite bloggers is Austin Kleon. He's an artist and writer based out of Austin, Texas, and he has a great blog that you guys should read, and I'll leave a link below. But recently he's been talking about autumn, and recently he had a blog article referencing Walt Whitman. And Walt Whitman talked a lot about nature, and especially about leaves and how they symbolize the cycle of life and death. Well, this was a nice, fun experiment. I remember doing this years ago. It was probably around the same time, 2009, when I was doing the crayon typing and aluminum foil typing that we covered in a previous video. But so my wife suggested I take some damp paper towels and these ones that I've typed on that I like and put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the fridge, and hopefully they'll stay fresh enough and not too dried out. Next Sunday, a week from today, is going to be the Albuquerque Typewriter Fiesta, is what we're calling it, at Penny Smith's Paper on Rio Grande Boulevard in Albuquerque at 1 p.m. Hope any of you guys that are watching that are in Albuquerque or driving through can stop by and have fun with us. So I'm going to try to bring these leaves to the typing event next week, and so hopefully I can try preserving them in the refrigerator. Well, this was a fun exercise. Definitely you're going to need, if you want to try this, you're going to need to experiment with several different typewriters. If you have several in your collection, obviously try them all out. First of all, I'd recommend using a pica size, a larger size font typeface. Secondly, use lighter colored leaves. The dark green ones don't really work as well, simply because obviously the dark colored ink doesn't show up as well against a dark leaf. But in this case, this one, it did show up a little bit better if you type on the back side, because the back side's a lighter color, a lighter tone than the front. That worked well. Yeah, so the main thing is having a machine not only that has a larger typeface, but that allows you to roll the leaves through the machine. It has a wide enough gap in the pressure roller, between the pressure rollers and the platen. And also using a backing sheet of paper seems to help also. And if you do so, you'll get this accidental ink, chlorophyll ink kind of transfer, which is kind of cool on its own. Kind of an experimental process. It's autumn in North America and in Northern Hemisphere, so try this out, see what you guys think. I hope you guys have good results, and leave some comments below if you do. Until next time, stay creative, enjoy the autumn, and have yourselves a great day.